The throne room of Olympus rises like a second mountain, its marble columns reaching toward the heavens, its golden roofs catching light from a source that needs no sun. The air smells of ambrosia and incense, and the light is eternal, golden, perfect. This is the seat of power. This is the center of the cosmos. This is where Zeus sits, and the lightning is at his fingertips, and the thunder rolls at his command. Below, on earth, mortals pray. They lift their hands to the sky and whisper his name, and they ask for rain, for victory, for children, for mercy. Above, in the halls of Olympus, the gods bow. They approach his throne with offerings and requests, with flattery and fear, with the careful words of those who know that one wrong syllable could bring a thunderbolt crashing down. He is the most powerful being in existence. He is the ruler of the cosmos. He is untouchable. But the throne room is silent, not the sacred silence of worship, the silence of absence. No one approaches without reason. No one speaks without purpose. The gods who once feasted beside him, laughing and drinking and sharing stories of the old days, now keep their distance. The mortals who once sang songs of his adventures now speak his name only in prayer. He is surrounded by power. He is surrounded by worship, and he is completely, utterly alone. The throne is the highest seat in existence, and it is the loneliest place in the universe. The world of Olympus is magnificent. Golden halls stretch in every direction, lit by flames that never extinguish, cooled by breezes that carry the scent of ambrosia and nectar. The tables overflow with food that never runs out. The cups fill themselves. The music plays eternally from instruments that need no hands. This is what Zeus has built. After the Great War, the Titanomachy, when he and his siblings overthrew their father Cronus and the Titans, he established a new order. He created the laws that govern the gods. He divided the realms between himself, Poseidon, and Hades. He built a system of worship that would endure for millennia. He is the king. He is the law. He is the one who decides. But the world he rules is not a family. It is a court. And in a court, no one is trusted. Everyone is watched. Everyone is measured. Everyone is waiting for the moment of weakness when they can strike. Zeus knows this. He has always known this. Because he did not become king by being loved. He became king by being the strongest. And the strongest cannot afford to be weak. Not for a moment, not for a breath, not even in the privacy of their own thoughts. The gods smile at each other in council. They raise their cups in toast. They speak of brotherhood and unity. And behind every smile, there is calculation. Behind every toast, there is waiting. Behind every word of unity, there is the knowledge that the throne could be taken, the lightning could be stolen, the king could be dethroned. This is Olympus. This is the court of the gods, and it is the loneliest kingdom in existence. In the private hours, when the feasts have ended and the councils have adjourned, Zeus returns to his chambers. The rooms are magnificent, gilded ceilings, jeweled floors, beds soft as clouds, baths that fill with water warm from the sun. Everything a god could want, everything a king could need. And he sits alone. He listens to the echo of his own footsteps. He listens to the absence of voices. He listens to the silence that has become the only constant in his eternal existence. There was a time, he remembers it, though the memory is old and faded, worn smooth by millennia. There was a time when he was not alone, when he was a child hiding in the cave on Crete, raised in secret by his mother Rhea, fed on milk and honey while his father Cronus searched for him, ready to swallow him as he had swallowed his other children. That was fear, not love, but it was proximity, it was presence, it was someone knowing he existed.
Later, in the war against the Titans, he had brothers and sisters at his side. They fought together. They bled together. They won together. And in the victory, when the Titans fell and the new order was established, there was something like joy. But that was long ago. That was a different Zeus. That was the boy who had not yet learned what power truly cost. Now he sits in his chambers, and he reaches out, and his hand closes on nothing. The wall is there. It has always been there. And he built it himself. He built it stone by stone, year by year, betrayal by betrayal. He built it with the knowledge that anyone close enough to love him was close enough to hurt him. He built it with the certainty that the throne could only be kept by those who could not be reached. And now he sits behind that wall, and the wall is all he has ever known. And he cannot quite remember what it felt like to be touched by someone who was not afraid.
The wall was not built in a day. It began with the Titanomachy, the war that lasted 10 years, that shook the foundations of the world, that ended with Zeus and his siblings standing victorious over the ruins of the old order. He learned many things in that war. He learned that trust was a weakness, that love could be manipulated, that the only safety was in power, and the only power was in being untouchable. His father Cronus had swallowed his children to prevent the prophecy that one of his children would overthrow him. Zeus had escaped only because his mother Rhea hid him, wrapped him in a cloth, and gave Cronus a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes instead. The boy who was meant to be devoured was raised in a cave on Crete, fed by goats and bees, hidden from the world. And in that cave, in that hiding, Zeus learned the first lesson of power. Safety is found in distance. Love is a liability. The only one you can truly trust is yourself. He carried that lesson into the war. He carried it when he freed his siblings from Cronus's stomach. He carried it when he led the attack on Mount Olympus. He carried it when he castrated his father with a blade of stone and threw the Titans into Tartarus. He won the war by being willing to do what no one else was willing to do. He won by being stronger, colder, more distant than anyone else, and he never forgot. Every relationship after that was measured. Every alliance was tested. Every love affair, and there were many, with goddesses and mortals, with nymphs and priestesses, ended in the same way, with distance, with caution, with the knowledge that anyone close enough to love him was close enough to hurt him. The wall grew higher, the gates grew stronger, and Zeus, the king of the gods, became the most isolated being in existence.
The gods noticed his distance. Of course they did. They were immortal, and they had nothing but time to observe and analyze and plot. They called it majesty. They called it the proper behavior of a king. They told each other that Zeus was above such mortal weaknesses as love and friendship and trust. He was the father of gods and men, and fathers do not kneel to embrace their children. Fathers do not weep. Fathers do not reach out. But the truth was simpler and more devastating. Zeus had become the strong one, the one who could not be touched, the one who could not be hurt, the one who had built a wall so high that no one could climb it, not even himself. He had wives, many wives. He had children, hundreds of them, scattered across the mortal world, gods and heroes and monsters, each one powerful, each one distant. He had lovers, mortal and divine. He had everything a god could want, and not one of them knew him. Not one of them had ever seen the man beneath the thunderbolt. They saw the king, they saw the god, they saw the power, they saw the lightning that could strike them dead if they spoke wrong or looked too long or breathed too heavily. They saw the wall, and they stayed on their side. And Zeus let them stay there. He encouraged it even, because the alternative was unbearable. The alternative was vulnerability. The alternative was the boy in the cave, hiding, afraid, alone. Better to be feared than to be hurt. better to be untouchable than to be reached. This was the logic. This was the wall. And it made him the king of the gods. It also made him the loneliest being in existence.
In the mirror of his chambers, a polished bronze disc that shows not faces but truths, Zeus sees two figures. The king, radiant, powerful, eternal. The one who sits on the throne, who holds the lightning, who commands the cosmos. His eyes are the color of the sky before a storm. His beard is dark and thick. His presence fills the room like thunder fills the sky. This is the face the world sees. This is the face carved into temples and painted onto pottery and whispered in prayers. This is the face that makes mortals bow and gods tremble. But behind the king, there is another figure, smaller, quieter. The boy who was hidden in a cave on Crete, raised in secret by his mother Rhea, fed on milk and honey, never knowing love, only survival. The young god who learned that the only safety was in power, and the only power was in being alone. This figure is afraid. This figure is lonely. This figure reaches out for something, anything, and closes his hand on nothing. The two figures do not merge. They do not reconcile. They exist in the same space, the same being, and they never touch. The wall is too high. The wall is too thick, and the man who built it cannot climb over it because he does not remember how. He does not remember what lies on the other side. He does not remember what it felt like to be known rather than worshipped, to be touched rather than feared, to be loved rather than served. The king looks at the boy. The boy looks at the king, and neither of them moves. The wall stands between them, and it always will. A prayer rises from earth, not a prayer of worship, not the usual requests for rain or victory or children. This is a prayer of wonder. A child on earth looking up at the sky asks her mother, "What is Zeus like? Is he happy?" The mother pauses. She does not know how to answer. She thinks of the stories, the lightning, the throne, the power. She thinks of the myths she was told as a child. And she says something about glory, about power, about the king of the gods. But the prayer reaches Olympus. It rises like smoke from 1,000 temples, and it arrives in the throne room as a flicker of warmth in an eternal winter. Someone is wondering about him. Not his power, not his thunderbolts, not what he can give or take. Are you happy? For one moment, one brief, dangerous moment, Zeus allows himself to remember. The feasts with his brothers and sisters before the war, the laughter of the young gods before they became gods at all, the feeling of being known by others who were not afraid of him, who saw him not as a king, but as a person. It was so long ago. It was a different life. It was a different Zeus. But the memory fades. The prayer ends. The child is asleep, tucked into bed by a mother who does not know what her questions set in motion. And the cold returns, deeper than before, colder than the mountaintops, colder than the void between stars. He seals the door. He raises the wall, and he sits on his throne, more alone than ever. The gods will approach in the morning with their requests. The mortals will pray for his favor. The cosmos will turn, as it always turns, around the fixed point of his power. And he will sit on his throne, untouchable, unreachable, and completely, eternally alone. The truth he cannot avoid, no matter how many walls he builds, no matter how many prayers rise to him in worship. He is the most powerful being in existence, and he is the most alone. The throne of Olympus is the highest seat in the cosmos. From it he sees everything.
every battlefield, every city, every love affair, every death. He sees the prayers rise like smoke. He sees the sacrifices burn on altars. He sees the faith of billions of mortals who believe he is watching, who believe he cares, who believe he answers. He is the eye that never closes, the hand that never relaxes, the king who never rests. And no one sees him. The gods approach him with requests and complaints and fear. They approach him with the careful words of courtiers, the measured tones of those who know that power can turn in an instant. They do not speak to him. They speak to the king. They do not address the man. They address the throne. The mortals worship him. They build temples in his name. They carve his statue in every city, paint his face on every pottery shard, whisper his name in every prayer. But they do not know him. They cannot know him. He is too far above them, too powerful, too distant. His wives, Hera especially, keep their own courts, their own followers, their own plots. They are queens, not partners. They are rivals, not companions. His children, Athena, Ares, Apollo, Hermes, Dionysus, and hundreds more, they are powerful and brilliant and scattered across the world. They come to him for favor, for permission, for protection. They never come to him for love, because he never taught them how, because he never knew how himself, because the boy in the cave grew up to be the king, and the king does not need love. The king is strong, the king is powerful, the king is untouchable, and the king has never, in all his eternal existence, been held.
The episode ends at the edge of Olympus. Zeus stands where the mountain meets the sky, looking down at the world he rules. The cities spread across the land like jewels on a tapestry. The seas roll in their eternal patterns. The mountains stand ancient and immutable. The forests grow and die and grow again. The mortals live and love and die, generation after generation, unaware of the eyes that watch them from above. He is the king. He is the father. He is the god of thunder and sky, the ruler of Olympus, the lord of the cosmos. He has everything, and he has nothing. The throne that he built, the throne that represents order, justice, power, it is not a seat, it is a cage. And the cage is made not of iron, not of stone, but of power itself. Power that isolates, power that distances, power that makes everyone around him afraid to come close. Power that ensures no one will ever again be close enough to hurt him. He built the wall. He raised the gates. He made himself untouchable. And now, at the edge of eternity, looking down at a world he can never join, he understands the cruelest truth of all. The king who cannot be touched is not a king. He is a prisoner. And the prison is his own making. The bars are his own fears. The lock is his own hands, and the key, if there ever was a key, has been lost for so long that he cannot remember what it looked like. The thunder rolls, the lightning flashes, the world below trembles at the power of the gods, and Zeus, the most powerful god in existence, stands alone on the edge of Olympus, untouchable, unreachable, unbroken. Or perhaps, unbroken is not the right word.
Unwhole. The wall is too high, the throne is too cold, and the king who cannot be touched will never, ever be free. He will rule forever. He will sit on his throne forever. He will be feared and worshipped and obeyed forever. And he will be alone forever. The sky is his, the earth is his, the seas are his, and none of it means anything at all.